going on, Variety 3? It is Tom. Got a bit of a different type of video for you today. My thoughts on WWDC 2020, the keynote, and more specifically iOS 14 and macOS Big Sur. The reason why I'm talking primarily about just iOS and macOS is because those are the two platforms that I interact with on a more regular basis. I edit all of my videos and do my day-to-day just working and writing and all of that on macOS, and then I have an iPhone, so my phone usage is entirely on iOS. I guess you could say bias towards the Apple ecosystem. I mean, I'm recording this on my Mac using GarageBand to record my audio and all of that. So, without further ado, let's get into it. We have the WWDC clip or show right here, and we're going to kind of give it a little watch and talk about iOS 14 first, and then we'll move on to Big Sur after the fact. And so that's just what my thoughts are. Okay, so the app library, in my opinion, is actually a really cool idea. I think that, like, in practice, it'll be very convenient. It doesn't look, I honestly don't think it looks super cool. I don't think it looks very pretty because it just looks like you take the folders and you just make them bigger. But I think I'm probably going to just get rid of my home screens altogether and just use the app library. I'm hoping to get the beta of iOS 14 on my iPhone in the next probably a couple weeks or so when the betas get a little bit more stable, and I can give you guys like a follow-up on that. But I really do think that the app library as a whole is actually pretty cool. I also definitely believe that the widgets, because widgets on the home screen have been something that I've wanted for a long time. I actually did jailbreak my phone for a little while during iOS 13 when the Uncover jailbreak first came out. I have since gotten off of that because I didn't really like it that much. But I had a fair few home screen widgets that I thought were amazing. So having those just in there that I can just do that are from Apple and I don't have to potentially break my phone by jailbreaking is really nice to have. So that's cool. Small Siri is actually really great as an idea, but the problem with it is, this is I guess more of an iPad OS issue, is you can't actually touch anything behind where Siri is, which I think is kind of dumb, but whatever, that was on them. I mean, I understand, if you ever watch MKBHD's podcast, The Waveform, which I absolutely adore, by the way, he talks with Craig Federighi about it, and he says that it was actually done on purpose, so that you can still see what you're doing, but you might not necessarily need to interact with it. The new Messages app is really nice, actually, because you can now pin messages, and you can, set, you can inline reply to people, which basically is the same as, if you're, in a Discord or, an Instagram, or, maybe, I don't know if WhatsApp does this, but it might, where you can directly reply to somebody without, if someone sends you a thing earlier and then other people say something, you can just reply to that message. And so it gives the context in the right spot. And you can also mention people directly by name so that if you have, let's say you're in a group conversation and you have that conversation muted, but if someone messages your name, it will still kind of ping you, hey, this person has mentioned you in a conversation, which is definitely more of a Discord type thing, which is pretty sweet to have. So yeah. Okay, not gonna lie, what angers me about this is the fact that they're using light mode, but whatever. Okay, pinned conversations is actually really cool. They just added it as a feature on Snapchat, so that's nice, and I actually use Snapchat on the regular. I honestly use Snapchat more than actual messages at this point, to be honest, just because I like the UI better, but if the fact that you can pin messages is actually really nice to have, and I really hope that they bring that over, or I know they'll bring it over to macOS Big Sur as well, because I've already watched the keynote. That's kind of there's a lot more about it, but pretty much what it is there's app clips, which I think is kind of dumb. App clips is basically, that applies to me because I don't live in a big city, but essentially it is if you are near a thing that you can have to download an app for, it will just quick download a tiny snippet of that app that will give you if you're, let's just say you're doing you're ordering food somewhere and there's a line, you can scan your phone on a thing and it downloads the app clip, and then you can make the order and then you're done, and then it doesn't install an app and it doesn't take up very much data, which is cool in theory, I guess. And it actually makes more sense for like if you're in like a bigger city and there's like those little scooters or the bikes that you can rent. You just scan your phone on the thing and it downloads the little app clip, and then you can just keep going. That's kind of cool, not even gonna lie. But that's kind of the only situations that I would see that making sense. But yeah, iOS 14, pretty much the things that I'm looking at the most are the widgets and the new messages app and the app library, because being able to have the app library instead of my home screen will be really nice, because I'm honestly going to just only have the app library and just search for my apps and just have them in a list, because I think that's really convenient for me. And then having the widgets is pretty cool as well. But yeah, that's pretty much, I think iOS 14 is going to be fine. I have no issue with it. It looks fine. It looks good. Hopefully it's more stable than 13, because iOS 13 is kind of shit, but that's whatever. That's besides the point. Up next, and this will pretty much take up most of the video, will be macOS Big Sur, because I have some things to say about macOS Big Sur that both make me very nervous for the future of macOS, especially with ARM Macs on the way, and they just flat out annoy me. The first thing I want to talk about is those goddamn icons. I think they are fucking hideous. I don't understand why they felt the need to change them. They were fine. I like the current Catalina icon layout. I like the Messages app. I like how Mail looks. I like how everything, I mean, not everything is like a square. I like the circular stuff. Okay, I don't understand why they needed to change it. I mean, I get it. They wanted to look more like iPadOS or iOS as a whole. But dude, if the Mac doesn't have a touchscreen, making it more like iOS does not help. It's just annoying. There are some things that they brought over from iOS, like Siri and the notification shade and Night Shift and True Tone, that I love, and I'm really glad that they brought them over. But that has, first of all, True Tone is a hardware-based thing. But those things are designed with the Mac in mind. They weren't just a carbon copy of the notification center from iOS. They're brand new, but like those ideas came first on iOS and then made their way over to the Mac. But things like the control center for macOS, for macOS Big Sur, is really cool looking, but it looks like it was designed for an iPad and then moved over to the Mac. Which I guess could say that touchscreen Macs could be a thing in the future, but I kind of doubt it, because then what would be the point of selling an iPad if you can just buy a Mac with a touchscreen for a little bit more, and then you have all of macOS and all of its pro features and all of its pro apps and its like more, I don't want to say in-depth software, but like just doing things on macOS is a lot easier, I feel like, for someone like me who is a student and where I edit video and I do audio stuff and I write. Mostly for the video and the audio stuff, I need a Mac or maybe a PC, I guess, but more likely a Mac for that versus an iPad. And I had an iPad for a while and I used it a majority of the time. But when I needed to do video stuff, I always turned to a Mac. So they trying to make macOS more like iPadOS will just turn off the people who like macOS for what it is. It's not the same. Like right now, Catalina, I like Catalina. I know that people dog on it all the time, but I actually like it. What I do with my Mac, Catalina does everything perfectly fine. And I mean, I'm gonna update to Big Sur when that comes out, but I don't like the new design. I don't like the aesthetic. I don't like the rounded corners, all of the things. I just think it's not that pretty. And like, sure, the features that they're bringing over, like, you know, like making Safari better, that's awesome. I'm really glad that they're doing that. But I don't know why they need to bring maps onto the Mac. No one takes their Mac to use as a GPS device. I understand that you can use it to map out routes and send it to your iPhone, but just do it on your iPhone. Like, what's the point of that? I'm glad that they're making messages a little bit better. I don't know why they had the need to change Finder again. I like the Finder. I think the Finder works perfectly fine. But that's whatever. I'm glad that they're changing the Messages app. That's the one big problem I guess I would have with macOS Catalina is the Messages app. I think it's very stripped down and just not great. So making them making it better is awesome. I hate, this is the thing that I hate about Catalina, but I absolutely hate the fact that they have decided to separate iTunes and its like iPhone syncing and backing up feature with the music app and making the music app so weird and different. I just recently got a new computer that runs Catalina. My last Mac ran High Sierra, so I still had iTunes, and I loved it. And it's just so much better to have everything in one place. And why they felt the need to make 3 or 4 different apps for your TV and your movies and your podcast and your music and your syncing with your phone is just dumb. I mean, like, what's the point of that? It just takes up more space in your dock. You have to learn all these new UIs and all of that shit. It's just stupid. Like, I know I'm ranting, but like the changes that they've made to macOS lately, I don't really like. I love dark mode that they introduced in Mojave. I love the new wallpapers. Keep the new wallpapers coming. The wallpapers are the best part of macOS, in my opinion. Why macOS is so much, it just feels more, I don't want to say user friendly, but like it just feels more alive because it has all these wallpapers and the dynamic wallpapers. Those things are awesome. Like, keep doing that, you know? But like, just give me iTunes back, please. iTunes is so much better than the music app and the TV app and the podcast app and the having to sync your phone in the Finder. Like, having to sync your phone in the Finder is fine. Like, that's cool because I understand that, like, when you're on iTunes, you're probably going to sync an iPod, but syncing an iPhone is a lot more things. So maybe like, just bring back iTunes, but keep the iPhone syncing and iPad syncing and backing up in the Finder, and then bring everything back into one cohesive app, please. And they're never going to do that, but dude, like, that's just lame in my opinion. Like, they should just keep it normal. I don't know. That's just me. Okay. So the last thing that I kind of want to talk about is the ARM Max, or the ARM processor, the transition from Intel to Apple designed chips. I think that they could make some seriously incredible stuff with that, because if you look at the iPhone 11 Pro as their or the iPad Pro, let's look at the iPad Pro. Look at the A12Z, I guess is now the processor. That processor is coming on technically 2 years old because it's just a refresh of the A12X, and it's still one of the most powerful tablet. It is the most powerful tablet you can buy, you know. And it's not even close. The iPhone 11 Pro is the most powerful, on paper, straight up raw performance phone that you can possibly get. And it is getting closer, but Apple, every time they have a new chip, it is a good 6 to 8 months before anything even comes close to outperforming it. And nothing so far is outperforming it, you know? Qualcomm and their Snapdragon line of chips, they're good SoCs, but like Apple just has them beat in every way. I just don't understand. I'm glad that they're moving away from Intel, because Intel I don't think Intel really knows. Like, they're just kind of losing it. Like, AMD has them beat now in the big gaming computers and the newer type things. AMD is beating Intel right now. And with Apple moving to their own chips, think about that. Think about it. They decided that they want to make the most powerful Mac they possibly could with their own system architecture and their own chips and their own SoCs. They take the knowledge that they have from the iPad and the iPhone, and I guess the Apple Watch, because I guess it has a processor as well, and the Apple TV, and take all of that and into a device the size of a MacBook Pro, or the size of an iMac, the size of a Mac Pro. They can make some scarily powerful devices. And I'm not even kidding when I say this, but ARM gaming could totally be a thing. Look at the Nintendo Switch for an example. While the Nvidia Tegra is not the most powerful chip in the world, it gets the job done. It plays games, full console games on the go. Maybe not quite as nice as your PS4 or your Xbox or your PC, but it gets there. It does the job. It takes it portable, and it makes it powerful but not crazy, gigantically stupid big. So think about Apple designing an SoC. If they can make the graphics processor in an iPad equally as powerful as, say, an Xbox One S, which is what they claimed on the iPad Pro a couple of years back in 2018, then they can 100% give the graphics horsepower that would trounce an Xbox or a PS4 into an iMac or a Mac Pro or even a MacBook Pro, if they give it proper thermals and stuff like that, I think they could make an amazing, lots of machines that would be amazing and just powerful. I've said amazing like 17 times in this video. At this point, I'm just kind of rambling to ramble because I want this video to come out, because I recorded 30 minutes of Mario Kart for no reason. And I wanted an excuse to use it. So this is just kind of like a, not necessarily a first impressions, but like a, what are my thoughts on macOS Big Sur and iOS 14, mostly macOS Big Sur and the ARM Max, I'm not gonna lie, but I'm gonna hopefully go into some more in-depth videos with more research and stuff being done on macOS. I'm gonna talk about iOS 14, but I'll have hands-on with iOS 14 pretty freaking soon, so that'll be a little bit of a different situation. But macOS Big Sur, when I get that in house, I'm gonna be doing some videos on that, and I'll be talking more about the ARM Max when we learn more about it. So this is a bit of a different non-gaming video, talking a lot more about my interest in technology and very specifically Apple technology. But if you liked the video, do me a favor, hit that like button, share this video with your friends if they like tech as well. Do please subscribe to the channel. I know we've been kind of busy, haven't been uploading as much lately, but we're turning that around soon. We're getting back into the swing of things, so I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.